Tick, tock, tick, tock. You look up at the prison wall, eyeing the clock. You're truly trying to enjoy these last precious few hours you have left. After all, you were sentenced to death row, and each and every second that passes is a precious moment of your life. Tick, tock, tick, tock. The moment is almost here, and you are handcuffed and walked down the legendary Green Mile, which you note to yourself isn't actually green. Tick, tock, tick, tock. You take a look at the cold, sterile room in front of you, which will be the last thing you ever see. And you think to yourself, how did I get here? I'm innocent. No, really, I really am innocent. Buzz, buzz, your alarm wakes you up. Thank goodness. As you wipe the sweat off your brow, you realize it probably wasn't a good idea to have watched The Shawshank Redemption before going to bed last night. Then a new thought crosses your mind. How often does this kind of thing happen? Are innocent people ever wrongly convicted? And do these same people ever get sentenced to the most extreme punishment, finding themselves on death row? Brainiacs, we are glad you tuned in today, because as Morgan Freeman would say, get busy living or get busy dying. And it's time to go all in as we tell you everything you ever wanted to know about someone's last days on death row, the innocents that have been sentenced to it, and what happened after they were released. If you liked my Morgan Freeman impression, go ahead and hit that notification bell and subscribe so you can be alerted to our future videos. Let's start off with what it's like for those on death row. It's actually a pretty standard routine the week before an execution. The first thing that will happen is prison staff make sure that everything technical is in order. This includes making sure a closed-circuit TV system is working. If you didn't know, lethal injections are broadcast to a nearby room in the prison so that witnesses there can watch. For lethal injections in Tennessee, 3 chemicals are used: midazolam, vecuronium bromide, and potassium chloride. And all 3 are made sure to be in supply, which means 3 sets of 9 syringes. Color-coded red for the ones prison staff will use, and black for the backups. These drugs are very powerful and will take only 5 minutes to kick in, and that's the end of the procedure. This is by far the most common way for a prisoner to die on death row. In fact, since 1976, 1,266 lethal injections have been performed in the United States. Compare this to another method used, electrocution. In the last 40 years, only 158 men have died this way. But let's get back to our initial question. Do innocent people ever get sentenced to death row? Well, the short answer is yes. Ricky Jackson was one such man who was falsely convicted after a witness with a shaky story said Jackson was the criminal when he wasn't. Still, this story convinced a jury, and Jackson was sentenced to death row. Luckily, and incredibly, he was released after 39 years in prison. A true testament of his character, Jackson has a rather positive outlook on the situation. He was quoted as saying, "I intend to live well. But it has nothing to do with whether I'm here in this nice house or whether I'm homeless. It has to do with attitude. I've been given an opportunity, you understand? I'm not going to waste it by holding grudges." But Jackson is only one example of this. Since 1973, an astonishing 166 former death row inmates have been exonerated of all charges, meaning they went home free men. Human error definitely plays a role in these men getting charged for crimes they didn't commit. So what happens after these prisoners, well, aren't prisoners anymore? Well, these individuals are added to a searchable database so that people can publicly see that they are indeed innocent. But what about all the years of their lives spent wrongly behind bars? Thankfully, our government, the District of Columbia, and 35 states have compensation in some form. While it varies from state to state, in Texas, if you were wrongly convicted, you will receive $80,000 per year spent in prison, plus an additional $80,000 a year after you are released from prison. Now, don't go getting any ideas, Brainiacs. This is serious stuff, and as we said, not all states are as generous as our Lone Star friends. Case in point, in 2004, a Florida man named Wilton Dedge spent 22 years in prison for a crime he didn't commit and received nothing. That's right, nothing. Understandably, Dedge sued the state, only to have it dismissed by court. Public outcry was the only thing that came to Dedge's defense. And eventually he was compensated after a private bill was finally passed in 2008. So, now that you know what death row is like, we hope you have a new perspective on the seriousness of being convicted. Mistakes do happen after all, and innocent men and women do indeed get wrongfully sentenced, and years of someone's life can be forever taken away. It's a sad thought, and it makes movies like The Green Mile and The Shawshank Redemption all the more tragic. But, like we've learned in those movies, nothing can take away the human spirit. So enjoy these films, Brainiacs, and have a newfound appreciation for what you're watching on the screen.